Welcome to Home's Room. Just like Homeroom, we start off our day getting together with our homies, swapping stories, even a little kiss and tell action. This podcast contains language not suitable for younger listeners, topics about sex and mental health. Discretion is advised. Our views are our own. Let class begin. I am super excited about this episode because it's about crushes. And at some point in time, I don't know if I'm going to do it on this episode, so you might have just heard it, you might not have. I just thought as I was getting ready for this episode, it's like, what can I do to up the ante on our intro? And I thought, you know what, I'm going to title this episode Crush Crush. And immediately Paramore's Crush Crush played in my head, and I was like, I should put that song before it. And so that might have just happened, might not have, I don't know, we'll see. Judge me later, I guess. I don't know. How
Creative
are you,
editing inspo. I love it. I'm doing well, and I'm yet again pissed off at my damn LED lights because the saga continues. We've talked about it in past episodes, Matt. I can't get a solid string of these LED lights behind me that don't break.
Yeah.
I'm on my third set, and we're here. This episode's coming out in February. I'm wearing my pink sweater. We're talking about crushes, and the pink and red on my LED lights doesn't work. So it's blue today because I'm sad that my LED lights aren't working. And maybe fourth time is the charm. So if any of our listeners have any solid suggestions for LED lights that won't break after the first time I use it, plug it in. But other than that, we're doing well. I'm seriously considering hibernating during the cold just because this is awful. Where I'm at, we're hitting below zero. Nope. Heat in my car can barely keep up. I'm over.
Yeah. I was going to say that you look nice. I was saving it for when we started recording because I like giving you compliments on air. So it's like a little credit box where it's just like, hey, Matt, bingo, those episode bingos. Matt complimented Kaitlin's look. There you go. But sad face about the lights. I forgot to turn mine on, and I could grab the remote that's 2 inches from me, but I feel like that'd be rubbing it in your face. So I'm just going to leave them off. So
it's all
you're
right.
The only one with lights. Like I said, this episode though, we're talking about crushes, flows in line with the Valentine's Day month of February, but also we just did a interview that you will hear in season 2 that we are both really jazzed about with the ladies of Sex Reimagined. And I, for one, we had a ton of questions, didn't get to most of them, so I'm a little sad about that. But the conversation that we did have and how into it and almost engaged on a different level I watched you be for that conversation, that made me feel like I was getting to see what a listener reaction is like to one of our episodes in real time, and it was amazing. So that was fun.
It was the most fun I have ever had on a podcast interview. In giving podcast interviews, being the person that does the interviewing, that was probably the most fun I have ever had recording an episode. And there's still a lot that I could learn. I really do hope that we get the opportunity to have them back in a future episode because, again, Matt did a great job researching and sharing his notes about what he was able to research and giving me some context to walk into the interview with. But I was floored. Those two ladies are fantastic. So I'm really excited for you all to check it out as well.
Yeah, so go check out their podcast before that interview drops. So then when you hear them on ours, you'll know who they are and why it was so fun to have them on. But that's the Sex Reimagined girls, Dr. Willow Brown and Leah Piper. And I will chalk up the tongue-tiedness to how cold it is, like you said. So there's that. Let's heat it up though and start talking about some crushes. What do you think?
Let's do it, because my Starbucks this morning had its pipes frozen. They could not serve me
Oh,
espresso, so
I also had my pipes frozen this morning, so I feels that. Um, that wasn't fun. But what was fun was coming up with this list, and
hmm
um, you seemed jazzed about it almost immediately. So I'm going to let you. We have two crushes per category, and we're gonna go from like our list, and I think you should do, what, maybe like you do one, I do one, you do your
yeah.
other one, or do you want to do drop both crushes at the same time?
Let's go back and forth. This was such a cool concept and like so interesting to think back. So we have 6 total categories. We have our childhood crushes, our first crushes, our present crushes, which is interesting to conceptualize as we're both married. I know I shouldn't, but category and same gender. So I was this was really creative thinking process to like sit and be like, oh, okay, I've never actually considered this before. But my first childhood crush is Joey from early episodes of Friends, like 90s Joey, not Matt LeBlanc.
which I said earlier, and she was not pleased. She said it's
I was
Joey.
like, but it's not, I remember being young watching like early episodes of Friends and being like, oh my gosh, Joey's like so cute. And he was like funny and
Yeah.
yeah, so not even like older episodes, but like specifically the 90s core Joey, where you're getting introduced and acclimated to who he is as a character and how he like plays into that friend group. Big old childhood crush.
Yeah, I could see that. I uh I think that that's a really fun one, because I think those crushes, and this is me being like super analytical with the information provided, but those crushes, I think you can almost see the archetype of the people you are drawn to when you look
hmm
at those and pay attention to like what they were. And I guarantee my list will shape up to be like, it tracks for a lot of people. So I urge you to look at your early crushes and see how your taste or your style or your, whatever may have been influenced by those times, and you still find certain aspects. Like I see him as like, smooth but still funny and goofy and like down to earth and real, where he's not made up and like super, TV perfect. He's got all of those things, and I think that when I like what I know about you, it definitely makes it seem like somebody that is genuine and true to themselves, which seems like somebody right up your alley. So I don't know.
Uh, definitely descriptive of my current husband. So, which, if everything pans out, will hopefully be my only husband. So,
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, we're hoping for just ones,
and he's a huge Friends fan too. So, it and in your words, it tracks.
I like it. So am I going with
Yeah,
my first so
your
my
first childhood crush.
my first childhood crush was Nev Campbell, and uh that was like one of those. I remember her on Party of Five, and like she was probably what seemed like not too much older than me, but also like Hollywood and like actors looking young. And it's just kind of a thing. I hear you clicking, and
hmm
I did send you an email with mine, so you
Okay,
can look it
I'm
up,
pulling
and
them up.
they're all listed there for you, so you can see, because I figured you'd need the visual.
Which I do need the visual, and I'm glad that I just Googled who Nev Campbell is, because she is the only way I know Nev Campbell is she's the chick from Scream. She's the girl from
Exactly. Which
Scream.
she's a final girl, and this is
hmm
where, like I said, it tracks. She was the final girl in Scream. I don't. She is the final girl in Scream. I don't know. I don't know that like any of them stack up to what that first one was. But again, it was one of those things where it was like, she's pretty, she's badass. I like this. So I mean,
I
like
have
I
your
said,
pictures pulled up, so I'm scrolling through them as you're giving yours. That's a good one, and especially tracking for a final girl. Court has final girl vibes.
yeah, I would agree. I would agree. All right. What's your second first
So
crush?
going back to childhood, I was growing up in a fun time during like Nickelodeon shows, and I had the biggest like schoolgirl crush. There was a show that used to air on Nickelodeon called iCarly, and
Hmm.
Spencer, the older brother, he was so cute and just like super. Okay, now I'm just hearing over and over again in my head at tracks because Spencer was just like this tall, skinny, like goofy dude, and he was always so funny. And he was like this like artist who, you know, had all these crazy art installations, and apparently that was how he paid the bills for he and his sister Carly. But he was just like just like the cute older brother, whatever. So it's like, oh my gosh, Spencer. So that was formative in my childhood when we're talking about crushes for sure.
You know what's really funny is I like we have these conversations, and you were forced to grow up at a young age, so you present as somebody older than you are, and I forget how much younger than me you are, and then you say stuff
Am I
like
much
that.
younger?
I'm 35. So iCarly, when I like, to me that was like the tail edge of my like childhood. So I only ever watched it if it happened to be on, because by the time that was a thing, I that wasn't my kind of TV anymore. And I just think it's like, oh yeah, I forgot you're younger than me like that.
I forgot you were older than me. For our listeners, I turned 30 in June of this year. So I big Gemini energy, as the kids say. But yeah. So then what was like on Nickelodeon when you were watching it in your
uh
childhood?
all that was one of them.
Okay.
And it was back when it was a lot of game shows. So
Yeah.
like Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Yes.
I can't think of what the one was where it was like families, and they were, or like I think it was families, and they were playing like a game show, and you had to do like the stupid weird challenges inside of like
Like pick the
what.
boogers out of their nose with a huge
Yeah,
finger or
yeah,
something. Like,
exactly. Yeah,
yeah.
that.
Yeah. I know
Yeah,
which game show you're talking about. Yeah.
so like, and Salute Your Shorts, like those were the shows. So like the I don't like the iCarly thing, when like cameras got better, all that stuff was like
Yeah.
not a thing when I was younger. So yeah, it's just
Okay.
so funny. Also,
What's your
I like
second child? Oh, go ahead.
I got to address the fact that like you seem older and I seem younger, because I'm like a 12-year-old. So like it just
It
continues to be.
balances out. Age is
Yeah,
just a number. And you
it
know
is.
what? 30's the new 20 anyways. In today's economy, we got to account for inflation. Whatever.
I'm gonna use that one next time somebody calls me old. Yeah, my second one. This one is hands down, like if there was ever a like, yep, it tracks moment for a crush for me, it's Dina Meyer. She is Dizzy from Starship Troopers, and she was a total badass. So like, I can't even speak enough. And one of the things that's always been like unique to like what attracts me to a person in general is their eyes. And
Hmm.
if you have really pretty eyes, or really light eyes, or really like dark deep eyes, something that like draws me to it, it's hard for me to not just be like locked, just because eyes maybe are just like a captivating thing. And I just, like I said, I think it's so interesting that like that has always been a thing for me. So yeah, but she, like I said, she was Dizzy in Starship Troopers, super badass. And then later on, she was always kind of that badass in anything.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite Saw movies, she was the detective, and I had no idea until I started watching it, and it was like, oh hey, and it ended up being my favorite. And she's not really like a huge part of it, but it's her story directly impacts why that story is so good in that particular movie. And it was like, hey, it's the person I like. So yeah, there's
Yeah.
that one.
The picture that you sent of her, totally. This is where we have a fun sidebar about color theory, friends, because she has like a reddish brown, like dark brown,
Hmm.
reddish tint, which makes her eyes pop. I totally see what you're talking about. She's so pretty. How old is she in this picture? Do you know?
I don't. She. I wish I could. I don't remember which picture I sent, but also like that was off of her Instagram, so it was probably
Yeah.
relatively recently. Um, so it's
Okay.
possible. Um, but yeah, I'm glad that you approve of that one.
Well, for
Uh,
sure. So the next category that we have is our first crush. And can you please?
Our past and childhood crush. So like those were our first crushes, our past and
Okay.
childhood. And you want me to explain this one, as I assume where you were going with that?
Yes, please. Yes.
All right, so how does a past slash childhood crush differ from a first crush? Because your first crush was just like, man, I like this person, they're appealing to the eyes, I don't know why. That's your first crush. You're just like, I'm drawn to this like person for whatever attractive reasons, and you don't understand it. But then once you understand it and you're like, man, that person's pretty, and I could watch this person for anything that they're in, and it just kind of becomes a, huh, I enjoy this person and they are easy on the eyes. So your past and childhood is like somebody that you know you comprehend what a crush is, and you know exactly that, like, yep, that one's a good one. I like that one. I like that one.
Yep.
So yeah. Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first on this one?
You go first this time.
All right, I'm gonna go first. And we had this conversation before we were recording, where like Matt LeBlanc is not who you have a crush on. You have a crush on '90s Joey, and I
Mhm.
have a crush on Xena. Again, one of those quintessential '90s boy crushes, where it's like Lucy Lawless as Xena, warrior princess. Own the box set of the show, but again, like badass chick doing everything that she shouldn't be doing, especially in a time you wouldn't have seen on screen a woman doing those things. So like absolutely, hands down, one of the like most vivid crushes I remember having. And again, like I said, super badass.
It tracks.
Yeah.
My first for this category kind of fits into a couple, but I put him here for a reason. It is Nicolas Cage in National Treasure. The character that he plays in National Treasure, specifically the first National Treasure, because the second National Treasure was dog shit compared to the first. And let me tell you why. Setting the foundation of like this long treasure hunt that goes back to the beginning of the foundation of the United States and almost still Declaration of Independence. I just thought that Nicolas Cage, his character was so like smart, and he was doing things differently, and he was thinking outside the box. And I think kind of going back to what you were saying about our like tastes for people kind of being set in childhood or like first crushes or whatever, I can see how this crush impacted what appealed to me in love interests in adulthood for sure. The like, the adventure, the sense of adventure. He was funny. The like relationship that he had with his dad in the first movie was also something that I kind of saw mirrored a little bit with my own father in our own kind of way. And he was like really cute. So
Good old Ben Gates. Good old Ben Gates. I like that one, and I think that is again, it's I'm. People often ask, "Why are you so quiet?" And the reason I'm really quiet is because I'm analyzing stupid stuff like, how does my crush fit into my current lifestyle? And I don't want to explain that because they're going to look at me like, what the fuck? What? So I just say, I don't know, and move on because I don't need to explain it. But again, when you start to look at it, and like I said, I want people out there listening to this, make a list of your crushes, see what patterns emerge, because you might be like, huh, I never realized that. And it might tell you something about yourself you didn't know, or tell you something you did know. And I can see almost an upscale version, a more adult night out evening version of Joey Tribbiani in that pick. So it tracks. Again, that one is a very very interesting pick.
Joey wasn't as smart as Ben Gates, but they could both get it. So
okay. My second one is Regina King. And again, Regina King in what I'm trying to think of the name of that movie now. Poetic Justice. She wasn't like that great of a character, but she was definitely really pretty. She has gorgeous eyes. And then I started seeing her in other stuff, and a lot of people might know her now as something different than what she used to be. And will always remember her as the, like, I don't want to say mouthy, but like the don't take shit from anybody kind of like girlfriend or like, wing woman to somebody in a movie. And now I love who she's become as an actress, because she's gotten roles that like showcase her abilities more than she would have, instead of getting typecasted. um One in particular is um Trudy in Harder They Fall. She was almost like I don't want to call her a villain, because she's only a villain per matter of perspective. And I think that she did amazing in that role. So it's like her level of talent, her level of, like, you could, even at a young age, I could tell that, like, skill wise and acting wise, she had a ton of talent that just wasn't shown. And I was like captivated by it. So it's like, yeah, that one, Regina King.
I love the purple in her braids in the picture that you sent
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
And now that I'm trying to think of it too, I'm trying to think of other movies that I have seen her in, and I'm coming up blank.
Yeah, she, like I said, it becomes one of those things, and not like knocking you or anything, but she was in a lot of Black culture movies. So it's movies that you might not have seen, or you might not have, again, as somebody that was kind of like typecast as like that side character, you might
Yeah.
not have noticed. And then you go back and watch and you're like, oh, hey, you're also in this movie, or oh, hey, you're also in that movie. And now she's in quite a few, I don't want to say smaller things, but like niche, like audience things, where like
Yes.
you're only gonna watch if you're a like partaker of that
Which
genre, I guess.
a partaker that I am of is the Miss Congeniality movies. So I
Yeah.
just pulled up
Yep.
her IMDb and I was like, oh, that's how I know Regina King. She's in
Mm-hmm.
the second
The
one. I
second
don't know
one.
if
Yep.
she's in the first one as well, but she's in the second one. And that's a great movie. That's a
Mm-hmm.
wonderful movie. And I really liked her and Sandra Bullock's relationship, their character relationship in that movie as well.
Yeah. Like I said, that was, again, it's another one of those, like, where she was like a uh humble badass, where she didn't act way higher than she needed to for the role, but you could tell that, like, she did it. She has more in there. So, man, what is
Absolutely.
your second past slash childhood crush?
So this one, I don't know if this one will track or not, but it was Johnny Tsunami
Yeah, I
from
feel
the
that one.
like 90s Disney Channel movies. And it's like in a weird way too. My sister went to law school in Boulder, Colorado. She graduated a few years ago. But she FaceTimes me one night after she gets back from watching one of her law school friends playing like intramural basketball or something. Like it was just like not serious competitive basketball. And she goes, my friend at law school, you'll never guess who we played tonight in basketball in Boulder, Colorado at some college gym. I was like, what? She's like, it's Johnny Tsunami. Johnny Tsunami lives in Boulder. And she like ran into him like 2 more times before she
Yeah,
left or something.
yeah,
So I was like, oh my gosh, I get to see Johnny Tsunami play basketball. But it was like I felt like back in the early 90s, specific to male actors or, preteen actors in Disney Channel, they had a certain typecast,
mm-hmm.
you
Yeah,
know, tall, skinny, white, blonde kid. And Johnny Tsunami was one of the first times that I saw a more diverse character. And one of the first times I was like, oh, he's really cute. Oh my gosh. I don't run into many people that look like Johnny Tsunami in Jefferson County, Missouri while I was growing up, if you could imagine.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it was very eye-opening for what is that, early 2000s Kaitlin back in middle school.
So this is again where you just like hit me in the age thing, because the early 2000s, I graduated high school in 2006. So
No,
it's
you
like,
didn't,
yeah.
dude.
So it just hit me really hard right there. Where I was like, damn. Okay, moving on.
Sorry.
So do you want to do our present crushes, or do you want to do present last?
Let's do it. Let's do our present last. I like
Okay.
that move.
All right. So do you want to do same gender, or
Yeah.
all right? So we'll do same gender, and uh, I will I will state this, and it's something that I always kind of like. I don't know, I don't want to say shame, but a little bit of like guilt about when I think about my crushes. I often think like there's a lot of white people on my crush list, and it makes it seem like I'm not like I have a problem with like. And one of the things that I came to realize in like analyzing that thing was I I see my sister or my cousin or my niece or somebody and a lot of black women, and it's hard for me to like to picture that. Like everybody talks about how gorgeous Zendaya is, and I think she is really pretty, but she also
Mhm.
reminds me of my daughter. So it's hard to see her in any other light but that she reminds me of what my daughter is like in personality and like physical traits. And so it becomes that thing where like I see this person who reminds me of my sister, or who reminds me of, the one of my cousins that I grew up with. However, I didn't have any male siblings at all. So my list when it comes to crushes, I think I have, probably two of the like most gorgeous like black dudes you could have on a list. So my first one, and I posted this to Instagram and it didn't get any traction. It made me really sad. So maybe we'll have to do this again. But my vote for sexiest man alive this last year, who should have won, and I don't remember who won the last time, and I was really disappointed in that pick. But Aldous Hodge is just like, I mean, I don't know what, like, dude's got a really genuine, humble like persona and attitude, but is like, yeah, I don't know. Like I'm speechless, no words.
I don't know who this man is. I'm gonna pull like a Kiki Palmer. I couldn't tell you who this man was if I saw him on the street. He's fine. I have no clue what he does or what he has been in. I'm not mad that I have a picture of him pulled up on my computer screen in front of me right now. I'll tell you that much. What has he been in?
He was in Straight Outta Compton. He played MC Ren in Straight Outta Compton. Most recently, he was in Black Adam as Hawkman, and trying to think of other things that like people would have remembered him for. The biggest thing that like I remember seeing him in, and I'll like a random segue in a second, is Leverage. He was I think his name was Parker, but I don't remember what his first name was. But he was the hacker. He wasn't the muscle. He was the smart guy. And again, a role of a character like turned on its ear, where they didn't just have an African American as like the tough guy. He
Yeah.
was actually the brains. But his brother is actually the guy from the first Purge that got like that snuck into those people's houses. And he's also pretty attractive. So there's the Hodge brothers are yeah. But
I don't know
again,
why you didn't send me a picture of him too then, Matt. Damn.
So who's your first same gender, my friend?
All right. This was a something that we all, I think, were obsessed with at one point in time, specific to one of the seasons of Orange is the New Black, and that is Ruby Rose.
Yeah.
I remember because she just like blew up overnight, and she was gorgeous, and she has this like I think she's Australian maybe, or she's from New Zealand, so she has like this
Yeah.
beautiful and super interesting accent. But again, corn-fed white bitch from Missouri is gonna see anything that's not Southern as like super exotic or whatever.
Yeah.
There was this video though that she had posted to her social media, maybe, that was kind of showing her in like a bodycon dress and heels and with a long blonde wig on, and all her tattoos are covered in makeup, and it's like this visual art piece about her coming to terms with who she is. She like scrubs off all the makeup, her tattoos are showing, she takes the wig off, And at the end of it, she's dressed in very like masculine, like she's embracing androgyny and kind of like showing a more masculine side to, women sexiness, but also just like fashion in general. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember that being like a really kind of interesting thing that I, even now in adulthood, I'm still playing with, embracing more masculine style, how I can, embrace more masculinity and masculine pieces in my jewelry. And I feel like that um, concept was totally foreign to me until I saw Ruby Rose. Now, am I also a huge fan of the John Wick movies? And I'm so fucking pissed that they made her an assassin in one of the sequels and they made her deaf. No, mute.
Yeah. Mute.
They made
Yeah.
her mute. And I'm like, how dare you? She has the voice of an angel and an accent that is just so fun to listen to and so interesting. They made her like mute,
Yeah.
but she was still a badass. She was a tattooed
She
covered
was.
badass. And
She
she,
was.
for a second, made me feel like I could probably chop my hair off and do like but I don't have the bone structure for it. So
Uh
dodge that bullet. But Ruby Rose is my first one. And I don't think I'm alone in that too. It was like
no,
it was
absolutely
a
not.
huge fandom wise thing in Orange is the New Black around that time. People were obsessed with
I
her.
bet she made a lot of women question their sexuality. In all honesty, so yeah, no. I can support that pick. I mean,
Now, this second same sex crush that you have for you, or same gender crush for you,
yeah.
he should be on my list somewhere else.
Yeah, so this one again is like one of those like he's already been voted sexiest man alive, so it was good. His movies, his acting is amazing, and I like that sometimes he takes a lot of roles that end up being more culture driven, and that's really hard to do for somebody that's just a pretty face, or could easily be just like a pretty face, like a Paul Walker kind of thing, where like everybody's like, oh, I go gaga for you, so like they're just in fun movies. But he takes a lot of like hard hitting roles, and I enjoy that, with the exception of the Creed movies. So Michael B. Jordan is definitely got to fall on that list. And I remember being like, I don't know how old I was when I first watched it. Because we came, I wish I could remember, but Friday Night Lights had come out, and I remember watching him on Friday Night Lights and being like, I kind of like the way this kid's acting, and he makes me think of people that I would have grown up around, or just as easily been me and have a similar attitude. And then as he got older, and the roles he took, like I said, were like, huh. And then he got Michael B. Jordan, and it was like, yep, it's an attractive man
He
right there.
got fine.
Yeah.
Fine as fuck.
Yeah, so that's my second one.
I don't really know too much about his acting roles outside of Black Panther. Black Panther came out when I was in grad school, and let me tell you, me, myself, and three of my gal pals from grad school went to go see Black Panther in theaters together, and all of us were just crying at the credits. It was such a beautiful movie, and did like just demonstrated 100%. I wish I would have learned it earlier, that representation matters so much. You saw all these examples of kids who were like, I have a superhero who looks like me.
Yep.
And they couldn't really
1000%.
say that. I mean, they had to go out of their way to seek that out, versus a huge blockbuster movie with an amazing soundtrack.
We had Meteor Man.
The fuck is a Meteor Man, Matt?
Yeah, you'll have to go look it up if you don't know what Meteor Man is. But that was a joke for the initiated. That was a joke. They'll get it.
I don't know. I don't know who that man is. I couldn't pick him out if I was walking down the street. But an amazing movie with an incredible storyline, a villain, Michael B. Jordan. Fine as fuck. But to top it off with Black Panther, you're going to have a bomb as fuck soundtrack that is going to carry me emotionally through grad school for the rest of my time at school. Kendrick Lamar killed it on that album. Oh my gosh. Just the entire thing was just this beautiful love story to culture and just Black excellence that I don't think anybody had seen before. So it's not even like, obviously, Michael B. Jordan's foreign as fuck, as I have said 3 times now already. But for him to be a part of something that was also so revolutionary for modern day filmmaking was just wonderful for the culture.
Yeah, it was. I would agree with that. I enjoy seeing, young white kids running around with Black Panther like T-shirts and like, just merch, if you will. And to me, it's just it shows a level of like, I wonder what that parent thinks having their kid run around in not Superman stuff and having to understand that their kid saw something that sparked a like beauty. We watched Echo over the weekend, and
no spoilers. I haven't seen it yet.
I asked, yeah, it's fine. I asked Lincoln if she liked all of the colorful beadwork and things like that they had, and especially towards like the latter half where she was immersed in her culture. And I didn't expect her to have like a solid answer, but her answer was like a thumbs up, which means like that's her way of communicating, is if she likes something she'll give a thumbs up. And she like lit up about it, and it just makes me happy that that culture is being portrayed. And I think that if superhero movies and TV shows do one thing, bringing cultures to mainstream where others might not have, I fucking love it. But moving on from that, back to not our rabbit hole that we like to fall down. What is your second same sex or same gender?
Second same gender crush I stole from you right before we started to record. And let me tell you, I was glued to my damn iPad screen the entire time that the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial was going on. Okay, there's a YouTuber, Emily. I can't remember her last name right now, but she's a lawyer. She was live streaming all of she was watching the live stream and giving live action, like, I'm a lawyer, this is what this means, these are the possibilities of motions, like explaining all of it to us plebs who have no idea and never went to law school. Amber Heard is on this crush list of mine because she's just so pretty. Now, after the things that I heard and saw and witnessed that for the media frenzy that was around the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, she's just really pretty. How about that? Yeah, I'll just keep it at that. Yeah. All of the domestic violence and emotional abuse, financial abuse, everything that went on in that relationship, I really hated that people made it a huge thing, saying that as somebody who was glued to it, but also because I work in the criminal justice system. Mm-hmm. I just find court interesting. I was doing the same thing for the what's his face Brooks trial, and it wasn't because I thought he was cute. Court just interests me. Amber Heard's so pretty. I've actually never seen Aquaman. Mm-hmm. And if it's true that her relationship with Johnny Depp actually did blackball her and stall her career out, that's really unfortunate. If that is actual, I don't think that they could prove damages, and she lost that part of her counterclaim against Johnny Depp. They both won some, they both lost some, whatever. She's just really fucking pretty, especially with blonde, like just the blonde hair and some of her red carpet looks. Some of the pictures that I saw of her during the media coverage, I was like, oh my God, she's just stunning. Maybe I should go blonde again.
Like you said, you stole that one from me because I gave it as an example for our next category, which is I know I shouldn't, but ... because I thought about putting her on that one because she is pretty, but ultimately I went a different direction, and
she's so problematic.
Yeah, I'll explain this category. I know I shouldn't, but is somebody that like maybe you shouldn't have a crush on because of you know, what they represent, and like it's not about like crushing on them, it's about their standing or what they've accomplished with their, you know, their voice or whatever that thing is. Or, you know, like in a case like Amber Heard, where it's like maybe they're, you know, fallen from grace a little bit in the public eye or whatever. So it's like, I know I shouldn't, but I do have a crush on. And who's your first one?
My first feels like a taboo. It is older Tom Selleck from Blue Bloods.
I like it. Yeah, I mean, Tom Selleck can fall on any list. I'm pretty sure everybody's gonna be like, yeah, Tom
I have
Selleck.
always had a crush on Tom Selleck, but here's why it feels like I shouldn't. Some of his mannerisms remind me a lot of my father, God rest his soul. And there's also very clearly like an age thing there too. But I'm specifically saying older Tom Selleck because older Tom Selleck can get it in Blue Bloods. He's the chief of police for NYPD. He's like the patriarch of the family. They all gather around the dinner table, and Mark Wahlberg's brother and his wife are, you know, their kids are running around. He's doing the whole we're a Catholic family and all, you know, whatever. It feels taboo because he is so much older than me. Tom Selleck at any age can get it. And you heard it here first at Holmes Room Podcast. That's what's up.
Hey, Kaitlin.
What?
It tracks.
It does, doesn't it? Fuck.
So, moving on to mine.
But that's why it feels taboo. It just feels like a little... I probably shouldn't, but here I am. I still do.
That's why I love this category. Both of mine are newscasters, and this is like one of those things where like I don't really remember what show it was, but like they made a joke about having a crush on Barbara Walters, and I just remember like finding that hilarious because it's like I could totally see it because she just is so commanding. She's intelligent. She's like she just is this thing. So like I could understand it. And when I thought about this category, I was like, man, I'm that whatever that movie was. I'm that person because that's what it is. And both of them are like well versed in the things that they do, and I enjoy listening to them speak on a level of like when I don't want to say like a dog on a scent, but when they have conviction about the thing they're trying to report on and don't want to let somebody get away with dodging the question, and just the ferocity that they can go after somebody with, that thing is like captivating to me. So my first one is Dana Bash, who is one of the CNN. I think she does Inside Politics now. I'm not sure. I haven't watched. I try not to pay attention to the news quite as much as I used to. So I don't turn
Smart.
it on unless there's like something massive that needs to be like looked at. And I watch a lot of media outlets. I don't just watch one because that's kind of how you figure out what points line up and which ones don't.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, Dana Bash is my first. I know I shouldn't, but because she's not somebody that you should have a crush on because she's a reporter. She's there for her brain. She's there for all these other things. But also, like, I think I got a crush on her. So
brains and beauty. This picture is stunning.
Yeah. So what's your next one or your last one? I guess for this category.
This might be a niche pop culture reference. I don't know. But lately, I don't know if any of y'all have paid attention to 50 Cent's Instagram posts, but he is so out of pocket with all of his Diddy shit. He hates Diddy.
Yeah.
And so I started paying more attention to it because there were some comedians on Two Bears, One Cave, which is a podcast I listen to weekly. It's with Bert Kreischer and Tom Segura. Tom Segura brings it up and they go through some of the posts, and it is the most out of pocket, insane shit I've ever heard. And listen, there are some people in Hollywood that I would not want to piss off. P. Diddy is one of them. There's a reason why it's only now coming out about some of the shit that he's been involved in. That settlement with Cassie, fastest settlement that has ever been reached in a lot of different ways. It was a huge settlement for her. I'm so proud of her for coming forward and actually doing a lawsuit so that everything that was in her and like initial summary of the actual lawsuit against P. Diddy is public record. And that was her way of actually getting her truth out, and has emboldened a lot of other women who have been wronged by Diddy to come forward. It so feels like I should not be crushing on 50 Cent right now because he's so fucking out of pocket. Like every single thing that has been talked about P. Diddy in the news, how he's awful towards women and abusive and physically abusive, emotionally abusive, financially abusive, whatever. 50 Cent has like put up a magnifying glass on that and been like, hey, everybody, here's this. But it is constant. Like, he's also posted that he's going out of his way to produce a documentary about P. Diddy that is going to air sometime. And you know that if 50 Cent is footing the fucking bill for it, it is not going to paint P. Diddy in a good light. So he feels taboo because he can get it and he's really cute. But like lately, he just feels like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, he did
I don't know, 50.
pretty dirty too. So
what the hell are you doing?
It's just what he does.
What the fuck are you doing, 50? You're out of pocket. So I get him.
I can agree to both of those points. My sister would agree with you on that one. That was one of her like big crushes when we were younger. / I'm probably sure still. My second / last one for this category is S.E. Cup. And if you've ever heard S.E. Cup talk to or talk about anybody, she does not sugarcoat it, and she while being one of the people that is often attacked by like opposing news outlets, it's always funny because when you do a little bit of research on a person, okay, these are those things. So she was getting gone after by I wish I could remember who it was, but they were quoting her and throwing all sorts of shade about what she had said. And then she looked at the camera, smiled, and held up a book about being an evangelist, and was like, if anybody is an I don't want to say an expert because that's not necessarily a word she used, but essentially, if anybody is an expert on being able to have an opinion, it is somebody that was embraced in that life and maybe wrote a book about it. So if I say this is a thing, it's not just because the media or CNN or the left is paying me to say it. It's because it's my genuine opinion. So maybe do some research. And I was just like, damn, this chick is wild. And then I continued to watch, and she continued to like, I was literally in tears anytime I heard her do an interview on anything, because she has her own media, everything, and she's a journalist, so she's got like writings. It cracks me the fuck up because she says what she says and she's unapologetic for it. And again, one of those situations where she's really pretty as well. So what you got,
Matt,
buddy? What's
it
that?
tracks.
It does, doesn't it?
And also, according to her profile on Instagram, she won Jeopardy once.
She did. Yeah.
Brains and beauty. We're seeing a theme here, Matt.
We are. So moving on to our last category, which is our present crushes. And I think this one spans like past and present, so I'm going to list it first. Avril Lavigne, like I should like there's it just is, and I don't know how similar in my opinion to Zac Efron, who has evolved with the times to still be like, with the exception of the movie he's currently like doing, or he just is currently like advertising for, where he is an 80s wrestler where he looks a little weird. He has continued to travel with the times and be a heartthrob for every generation, or the same generation, I guess, with the right like appeal, I guess. She did the same thing, where she was exactly what like a 2000s like punk pop singer would be, and has transitioned into this edgy adult who still does stuff. Abby Dawn stuff is probably still like just as categorized as it was then now, but somehow it still works on her, even though she's like in her late 30s. So yeah, that's my first
was
one.
a little confused by like the Harajuku kind of like detour that she took while she was developing her style. It was a
Yeah.
little confusing for me, but I like where she ended up, I don't people think that her career has fallen off.
I
What are
mean,
your thoughts on that?
when you have Lyme disease and you're trying to deal with something like that, I feel like you have the right to fall off. And uh, arguably, her relationship to Nickelback frontman, uh, being what it was, is also a reason to have like had a time to be a thing. But I think her new music, when she dropped her new music, it picked up where she left off with a similar vibe and a similar sound. And I feel like her passion for the things that she cares about shined through. So I personally don't think that, but I also like enjoyed her music then, and I enjoy a lot of her music now. Some of her songs are on my like my Shazam playlist, because it would be
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I wonder who this is when I first heard it, and it was like, oh, of course that's who it is, because she was trying to make a comeback. So yeah, but Lyme disease, that'll do it.
And fun fact, Matt also knows her lore,
Yeah,
Avril Lavigne lore. Didn't
yeah,
even know that was a rabbit hole that we would fall down. Like most of the rabbit holes we fall down.
fair.
Speaking of which, let's divert back to the Zac Efron one, because I'm also very confused. Like the hair, the wig that they have on him on like the previews where he's
Yeah,
playing this wrestler in the 80s is weird,
yeah,
odd,
it's so
weird.
strange. It's so strange.
But it maybe is fitting of the era. I don't know for sure.
That's what I said. I will still want to see the movie because
I
he's a
don't
good actor,
know.
but goddamn, he looks
But it
strange.
is also, I think, the first major motion picture that he is getting in front of the camera since he's had his jaw reconstruction.
Since he had
And, good, bad, and different, he does not look like the same person. Of course, before he fractured his jaw and it was hanging off of his face.
yeah
Okay. But yeah, it looks a little uncanny valley.
yeah.
Like
You
to me,
know,
it just says
I
that. I don't know.
I think for me, in that he doesn't. It's not even that his jaw looks different. It literally is like the weird haircut that he has. I feel like if like when I saw him do promo for it and he just like looked normal, I didn't even notice the jaw thing until somebody pointed it out, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. And
Yeah.
so like, like I get it, but also he bulked up so much for that movie. His face just generally looks different because he put on a decent amount of weight and muscle. So like I get it. I don't know. But what's
It's
your
the
first
human growth
present?
hormone, HGH.
Yep.
Okay, present crush in an It Tracks moment is Reacher.
Yeah.
The main character, Jack Reacher. He's so fine. And I'm saying
In
the
the TV
character
show,
in the TV show.
not the movie.
Yes, on the Amazon Prime TV show, Jack Reacher is just this giant behemoth of a man. He's all beefcake. He's smart. He can like look at a crime scene and be like, oh, well, there were 3 shooters and this is how I know. And I've fallen down the rabbit hole. I binged the first season in like one night. And of course, it's just my luck. They're releasing 1 episode per week of season 2 now. So I binged the first 6 episodes and now I got to wait till fucking Thursdays to get my Reacher fix for the week. Alan Rick something is his actual government name. He's married. His wife is beautiful. Actor, real life person. I followed him on Instagram and it's not doing it for me. Which of course he's married, whatever. So am I. But Reacher can get it.
Yeah. I don't disagree with that for you. That's a choice. I will say that. But
bitch.
but yeah, I again, I can appreciate your pick. But I will say my second pick again is it tracks moment, and it tracks if you've watched the show The 100. And she started out as a character that honestly wasn't going to get a second look, and then they brought her back and did a test, and when they brought her back and did a test, they were like, oh, we can take this character somewhere. And in my opinion, she had the second best character arc of any character on the entire show. And
when Matt, most of the character arcs end in a burning fucking plane crash.
Kind of. there's three, I guess, that don't. Four, maybe.
Maybe we should
But
have a 100 episode because this is a rabbit
thought
hole.
I thought about it, and then I was like, no, because I don't know how that would go. But there, this one is Tasia Tales, and Tasia played Echo on that show, and both Echo and Tasia are crushes of mine. But Tasia is also on Shorzy, and she's just as badass on Shorzy as she is as Echo, but in a different way. And she's like, again, gorgeous eyes.
She's so pretty.
She almost, her and Lindsay Morgan tie for this one. I didn't put Lindsay Morgan down, but Lindsay Morgan and Tasia Tales are almost a package deal because they're really good friends on top of that. So usually one's on the other's Instagram, and it's like, oh hey, look, I don't have to. It's both of y'all at once. But the like I said, gorgeous, really good actor. She got a really good character arc, and she did everything she needed to do with it in that show, and I loved it. So Tasia Tales, that's my other one.
Love it. Definitely fitting for present crush for sure. My last on the list, certainly not least in my heart, is Pedro Pascal. However, it is Pedro from his character in the second Kingsman movie,
Whiskey?
where he plays the whiskey, where he plays the cowboy, and I'm not going to spoil the ending for you if you haven't watched it yet. Please go do so. And when he plays Joel in The Walking Dead, which was a cinematic masterpiece. And I am saying that as somebody who has a terrifying fear of a zombie apocalypse happening. Okay. I still, even with terror in my bones and the possibility of waking nightmares of the zombie apocalypse happening, could still appreciate how he played the character Joel in The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead has been a cult favorite video game for many, many years. I've never personally played it, but some streamers, like I watched PewDiePie play it many years ago. I watched Julian Solomita do his own playthrough.
Are you talking about Last of Us?
Yeah, what did I say?
Walking Dead.
Oh, fuck me. No. Pedro was not in The Walking Dead. I'm talking about The Last of Us. Different zombie apocalypse, still same possibility of nightmares happening. Because I have awful nightmares about two things. One of them is the zombie apocalypse. The second one is floating in space, which is also why I will never watch Gravity. We talked about that in a past episode. So, camera, what are we doing? Joel is a very masculine character who's a badass and, does what is necessary to survive in a zombie apocalypse. He lost his daughter, so he takes a liking or a father character or father relationship to this younger girl who come to find out is immune to catching whatever virus is turning people into zombies. Beautiful storyline, wonderful character. And Pedro, the artistic choices that he made when he played Joel, who I already loved as a character, was amazing. And fun fact about The Last of Us, the voice actor who played the girl who voiced her for the video games actually played her pregnant mother in the new adaptation that just recently came out on HBO. I will not be watching the second season. If you know, you know. I'm not going to tell you. But yeah, Pedro in those two characters specifically, present day crush.
I feel that one. That one's definitely a good add to that list. Him in Triple Frontier is probably like one of my favorite characters that he's been, because it was not different than he is, but like different enough that it showed that he could be a little grittier than like he's been allowed to be, because he's so charming. But he delivered one of my favorite lines, and if Ben isn't there when we get to town, we're fucking killing people. And it was just such a funny line to deliver.
I've never
Pedro
seen
Pascal.
it.
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
I'm gonna put it on my to watch list. And I know he's in Narcos too. I've never watched Narcos because I've seen enough cartel beheading videos. Yeah. I don't really want to be entertained by their horrific acts. But yeah, I still haven't checked him out in that. I just admire him when I used to have Netflix and would scroll past Narcos. Like, hey, Pedro, what's that?
Yeah, so if you have a list you want to submit and tell us who your celebrity crushes are in these categories, please do so. But also, if you agree, disagree, have comments on people like, yeah, I crushed on them too, let us know, because I think that this is one where you listeners out there, I'm sure you got opinions, or I'm sure you got people you want to be like, yeah, that person. So please do, because I think that'll be fun. And what also is fun is wrapping this episode up. And I'm going to ask my lovely co host over here, do you got it? That's what she said this week, my friend.
I sure do. And because it is Valentine's Day, I'm just going to remind everybody that the pressure that you feel to have your life look like a certain thing by a certain age is not real. Whatever societal pressure you feel to have your shit together. I remember growing up and in my early teenage years, I was like, 22. 22 sounds like a good year to get married, settle down, and start having babies. Huh? Granted, was I being born and raised in the Bible Belt, and I had some specific influences and socializations and, patterns of expectations that I was believing at that time? Absolutely. I got to 21, I was like, I'm not done being a dumb bitch in college yet. I do not need to be nobody's mother at this point. And I waited a long time. But even when my now husband and I started dating, we dated a long time. Longer than I honestly would have wanted when I first imagined what my life was going to look like before I was going to get married. I wanted what I wanted, didn't end up happening. And that was everything happens how it's supposed to, whether you believe in a higher power or not. I believe that everything happens how it's supposed to, when it's supposed to. I have so many friends who are in different seasons of life, and they are kicking themselves because they're not yet married, or they don't have kids, or they're not a homeowner yet. Grass ain't always greener on the other side. Okay. Us homeowners over here are worried about our fucking pipes freezing because it's our problem. At least if you have a landlord, you can call somebody else to get your situation figured out. All of this to say, if you are feeling lost because of your lack of crush or your lack of life partner, or your life doesn't look like how you expected it to right now, you're going through whatever growing and learning season that you have to face and come out stronger through, to be able to be open and willing to accept whatever blessings end up coming your way when they come your way, because they do, and they will. I'm just sitting here feeling nostalgic because we were talking about childhood crushes. And then I remember thinking about, this is how I wanted my life to look like. I am not who I was when I was making those judgments or setting those goals for myself as a preteen, obviously. I wish I could go back and tell that younger version of me that, hey, it's okay. You don't have to be stressed out about this right now. Go and play with your fucking Betty Spaghetti and go watch Johnny Tsunami again while you still can. And just be happy that you're not paying bills and you're not responsible for tiny humans yet. Okay? Don't wish away the good in the season of life that you have right now because you feel pressure, you think or feel like you're behind the race. There is no race. Winning the race is figuring out there is actually no fucking race. Fun fact about adulthood, parenthood, marriage: nobody knows what the fuck they're doing. They're just making the best choices that they can with the information that they have at that time. Nobody knows what they're doing. Nobody knows. So that's what she said. Here to be the home's room cheerleader, week in and week out. Happy to do it for you. And yeah, that's what she said, Matt.
Good. I like that message. I usually try to not laugh and make noise while you are delivering those, but you hit me several times where I had no choice but to laugh. So hopefully you out there listening also laughed. But yeah, another good, you are where you are, and that's okay message from Kaitlin. And I think we can't hear that enough as a society is, guess what? That race they're trying to get you to run against somebody else is to keep you running on that hamster wheel. But
It's the government, man.
exactly, yeah. But there's no hamster wheel that you need to be running on. I like that. I also like getting reviews, so leave us reviews. Listen to episodes. Tell us what you think. Give us feedback. Comment, share, all the fun things, because we need that to grow. My goal is to grow the podcast, and we need your help to do that. And if you listen and you like it, help us grow. Tell your friends. Share posts. We can only do what we can do with our 4 hands and 2 eyeballs each. We got nothing but love to hand out. So help us hand it out. I think that as a interview you will hear coming up, he said, I genuinely think you're a good podcaster. You got a good thing going. You and your co-host are really finding a good stride, and you just got to have that one episode hit, and I think people are going to realize how great this is. And that was probably one of the best compliments I could have ever gotten, because I was feeling low. So
That's really sweet.
Help us, gain traction.
Help us help you. How's that?
Exactly. We got episode 51 here. So yeah, and it's a little bit long, sorry, but hopefully it was fun. So with that, crush.
We adore you. Bye.
The bell is about to ring. If you want to drop us a voice message or simply ask a question, you can do that by clicking the link in the show notes below. Be sure to leave us a 5-star review. It helps more people find us. Theme music by Kinsey. More music available on Spotify. Remember, every day is a class. Go learn something.